Hello, today is Tuesday, November 21st, 2023. My name is Daniel Mullany, and behind the camera we've got Nico Greina. And today we are filming a video source inspection for Sitek Process Solutions of a 4300S spin rinse dryer. Our customer is located here in the United States, and their PO number is 000749. Okay, so here we have an 8-inch spin rinse dryer. I'll go ahead and get the process started and then discuss as we go. Here we have a full boat of standard 200mm silicon wafers. Okay, so as I mentioned in the beginning, this is a 4300 spin rinse dryer. That means we have a single chamber standalone system capable of running up to 200mm substrates. And that's what this system is configured for, is a full profile of 200mm substrates. Our serial number on this system is SRD-01584. Taking a look at the back here, we're running in the rinse process. I can see the water draining down our main drain back here, and no leaks are present. We also have our DI water recirculation running right here, and no issues with that either. So this system is configured with our standard options on it, which is DI recirculation, a resistivity probe in the drain box that allows you to test the resistivity reading of our wastewater, and a static eliminator, which is an ionizer that removes any sort of static charge that may build up in the chamber during the drying process. The ionizer is a critical part for this system because when spinning at high RPM, a static charge can build up in the Teflon cassette from just the spinning and the hot nitrogen blowing across it. And so what that ionizer is going to do is it's going to relieve the chamber of any charge that builds up. This is important because, one, some substrates and devices can be highly sensitive to any type of static. And number two, when you remove the cassette and substrate from the chamber, if the cassette itself has that static buildup in it, any particles in the room will attract themselves to the cassette, and you'll find that the substrates will have a littering of additional particles on it, and you'll oftentimes see a pattern that shows it around the outside where it's closer to the cassette and those particles are getting drawn to. Okay, so what we are in right now is our dry one process. So the standard recipe for the spin rinse dryer includes 4 process steps: a rinse, a purge, a dry, and a second dry. The rinse, we're going to spin at a lower RPM and provide a quality rinse of the cassette and substrates after the previous process step. Normally, when you bring a cassette and substrates into the spin rinse dryer, it's already gone through a QDR process, so it should be completely contaminant free. However, we still run a short rinse process to ensure that we're rinsing off any residual chemicals that might have come in with it, as well as allowing the system to just keep itself clean. By the system continually rinsing itself like this, it helps keep the entire chamber clean on the spin rinse dryer. We then go into a purge step where we start ramping up our RPM and we send the nitrogen through the DI manifold. Our objective here is to release any residual water that's in the DI manifold to prevent any sort of dripping onto the cassette and substrates during the drying process. From there, we're going to do our dry one step, which is now complete, but our dry one is a higher RPM step that's going to sling the majority of water off of the cassette and substrates. By spinning fast, we're able to sheet off the DI water and whip it off onto the walls and get the majority of those big droplets off. From there, we're going to ramp down to a low RPM again, and now we're going to spend several minutes here allowing the heating elements of the spin rinse dryer to complete the drying process. Now we're spinning at a lower RPM. The heater blankets, which have been on, have now heated the side walls of the process chamber. The nitrogen is also now hot and able to complete the drying process. This recipe design style is the optimum way to dry in the spin rinse dryer and allows you to have the shorter process times in conjunction with low particle counts on the cassette and substrates. By doing this, you're able to effectively dry your substrates and prepare them for the next step in your manufacturing process, whatever that may be, whether it's a diffusion process or something else. This is the correct way to run this system. All right, so we have about 200 seconds left. So in addition to providing new spin rinse dryers from our inventory, we also offer 100% of the parts and services that you'd need to keep your SRDs up and running. So whether or not you're buying a new system from us or you have existing equipment in your building, we're able to provide all the parts and services that you need for your system. Whether you need to replace consumables such as filters, windows, seals, tubing, anything like that, main components such as motors, valves, an upright positioner, or you need a service such as us repairing your controller or your motor controller or the motor itself. Another service could also be rebalancing a rotor that you have that's out of balance. We have all of those services and parts available to keep your entire rinser dryer fleet up and running, and that covers our equipment, semi-tool equipment, Vertec equipment, and a variety of others that you may have in there. So if there's any kind of issue with one of your systems that you may be thinking of right now, give us a call because we can help you provide those replacement parts or the services that you need to get your system back and running in the correct condition that it should be. One of our most popular services for existing equipment is our refurbishment service. If you send us one of your pieces of equipment, we can rebuild it to like new condition, where we send it through our rebuild process that involves re-electropolishing all the metal, replacing all the consumables, rebuilding all the components, reskinning the poly, and also upgrading to our new control system. We can offer all of that as part of a refurbishment service where when you receive your tool back from us, you would be surprised and think that you just purchased a new piece of equipment. We like to say that your next SRD is already in your fab. It just needs to go through Sitek's refurbishment program. Okay, so we've got about one more, a minute and a half left of dry time here before we'll be able to complete this process cycle. Everything that I've seen so far in the system is running great. The system is balanced properly. I can see all the components have actuated well, and we have not had any alarms associated with the process. If you were to have an alarm during the run, this would change from green to red and indicate that you have an alarm. The type of alarm and how the system responds depends on whether or not we have something called a soft alarm or a hard alarm. A hard alarm would be such as an example like nitrogen loss, where the system's immediately going to shut down at that point. The system cannot run properly without nitrogen. The valves might not actuate properly, the upright positioner could fail. So the minute you have a nitrogen loss, it's immediately going to end its process recipe. If you had an issue with the nitrogen heater, for example, where there was an instance during the process run where it lost current, that would be considered a soft alarm, where the system's still going to finish its process cycle, but it will now be flashing red at the end and notifying the user that you did have an issue with the process run and that the system needs to be evaluated or sent over to maintenance. When the system's in idle, you'll have a yellow indicator like you see right here. Green is in process as we just talked about. Red is going to occur when you have an alarm of some type. And then blue is going to indicate a successfully completed process. We're ramping down to our last few seconds of our dry time right here, so we'll be able to demonstrate that as well in a minute. Okay, so now we're ramping down. Once we hit 75 RPM, we're going to upright the cassette and substrates. We convert over to blue, letting you know that we had a successful process run. And then I'm able to remove the product. When I reach in, I can feel the nitrogen's purging in warm. The cassette is warm to the touch. And when I visually inspect all of our substrates, everything is dry and ready for the next step in your manufacturing process. I'd like to thank you for taking the time to view our video source inspection for today. Again, my name is Daniel and this was filmed for Sitek Process Solutions. If you'd like to learn more about what we do, please take a look at some more of the videos on our YouTube channel, which is where you're at now, or head over to our website at www.sitekprocess.com, or just give us a call at 916-797-9000. And if you'd like to reach me directly, dial extension 2201. Thanks for your time again, and have a nice day.